friends. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? I hope everyone is having a great day so far. So, welcome to Do Space After School Digital Coded Session. My name, as always, is Kafaya, and I'm very excited to have you guys here with me today. So, we have quite a few things planned for today. If you guys remember from our last session, we learned a little bit about tags in HTML and how to bake cakes. Yeah, which was very exciting and left me feeling very hungry after the class. But before I go off rail and talk too much about food, today we're going to be continuing from where we stopped last time. So we would do a little bit more baking with HTML. We're going to learn a few more things like padding and sequencing and margins and padding. On CS, remember how I said CS and HTML, CSS and HTML are best friends? So today we're going to be bringing them together and just learning a little bit more about how HTML and CSS go hand in hand to help you create amazing things. So now I'm going to just dive right in. So if you guys remember, we got through a few of the challenges last time. For those who aren't familiar, we're working on EduCode. It's one of the many exciting activities that there are on code.org. So if you want to give me a second, I just saw something that I need to change. I'll be with you in a second. Awesome. So that is fixed and I'm back. Okay. So if you guys remember, we stopped at the rule of style, this activity right here. Just a quick refresher. So this is what we had, and we learned about applying background colors to help us execute what we wanted. And what we wanted for this part was to have green frosting on our cake. So I'm going to make this full screen and run my code so you guys can see. So that's what we had. Unless I'm mistaken, or I hope I didn't go too much into the future or too much into the past. But I guess I hope that's a good refresher and you can remember a little bit about what we did in our last class. So the next one to get onto is the warm colors of a warm summer. And after the crazy week we had a few weeks ago with like how cold it was, I think this is a good way to just proceed. And this is a good way to keep us hopeful for the summer. So now I'm just going to go ahead and read what it says, and then we're going to go figure out how to make the code work. So you've got this. You know, back in my country, France, remember our famous chef that we're working with is from France. We also have a fair to celebrate the start of summer. We hold a baking competition like the one in your town, except ours is a real competition. No, 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 not saying your contest is meaningless. It's just that in my home country, you need many years of experience of baking before you're even allowed to own a bakery. So bakers tend to learn a bit more and be a bit more professional. I'm not making this any better, am I? Okay, I'm not reading this like a conversation. Changing the subject. Cakes with warm colors are typically a hot seller for summer events. So why don't you try preparing a few? So we're just going to go straight into the activity. So for this activity, it is asking that we change the layer's color to orange using the background color property. And there's a hint right here to use the property background color followed by a colon, then the word green followed by a semicolon. So I'm going to start by resetting the code just so that we can start from scratch. So right here is where we're going to change the background color. So I'm gonna, oops. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right here. And please guys, be my extra pair of eyes. So if I spell something wrong or say something or do something, if there's a bug in my code and you guys can help me debug, that would be super awesome. Let's make this interactive. And if you need me to send the link again of the activity, let me just go ahead and do that. So if you wanted to, it might make you start from the beginning again, but I trust that you guys would be able to figure it out. So if you wanted to refer back to this activity sometime later on your own time, feel free to do so. But that's the link to the activity in the chat right there. So now we're going to go back here to set the background color. Remember our colon, and then we're setting our background color to orange. And then we end this with a semicolon. And let's run, of course, to test if our code is working correctly. And yay, we got that right. Okay, cool. So in our previous lessons, we learned how to like build our cake. So we have our cake open here. We open and close the tags, and we always make sure to just arrange it the way that we want our cake to look. So right here, as you can see, we have frosting on top, and then there's a layer of the cake, which is right here. And then we have frosting again right here, and another layer with the decoration lemon, which is displayed right here. Awesome. So next, we are going to validate our code so that we can continue to the next step. Okay. So let's watch a quick video to just teach us a few more things about what to expect for this next activity.
Well, that took a lot longer than I thought. I didn't expect to have to deal with such a ridiculous lineup. My curiosity took me on a trip to the bakery across town for some, market research. I, overheard two employees talking about the tantrum their boss threw. Something about not being the only bakery at the fair this year. I'm afraid we'll need to step up our game if we want to win the best cake trophy. Here, let me show you how to apply different colors to this cake's layers. This is where the class attribute comes in handy. Notice the cake has 3 layers, and each has a unique class. You can use class values as selectors by putting a dot before them. Here, the dot layer purple selector changes the color of this layer only, since it's the only one with the class, layer purple. Same idea for the dot layer green selector. Only this layer is affected, since it's the only one with the class, layer green. Did you get all of that?
Awesome. So we learned a little bit more about class selectors, and I believe we're going to apply these concepts to the next task that we have ahead of us. So I'm just going to reset the code just so everything else that I worked on while you guys weren't here doesn't distract from our lesson. So to successfully complete this exercise, you and I, must use the frosting tag name selector to change the color of the cake's frosting tags. These elements must be blue, okay? So we want our cake to basically look like the cake in the picture right here. And they also give us a hint. The tag name selector matches the tag's name, e.g., selector for frosting tags frosting. Okay. So secondly, the second thing to do to complete this exercise is to use the layer purple class selector to change the color of layers with class layer purple. These elements must be purple, and of course we have another hint. So we're going to go straight here to make sure that we complete that. So right here is dot layer purple. Purple. Okay. And right here is where our frosting goes. I'm just going to, yeah, and I think that looks good. I don't see any errors or any things that we're missing. We have satisfied the first condition. Well, we've answered the first question, which is to use the tag name selector to change the color of cake's frosting tags, which is already set right here. So frosting background color to blue. And our second one is to use the layer purple class selector to change the layers with the class layer purple. So purple cakes layer purple, and the green cake has the layer green. So let's run that. Ta-da! Unlike last time, we seem to be, well, I seem to be getting a hang of this thanks to you guys. I think you guys are my good luck charm. I don't seem to be struggling today like I was in the last activity. Just for fun, let's run this again. I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to run this again. I like how the cake drops, but awesome. Good job, guys. Good job to us. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and validate so that we can continue to the next step. Does anybody here like red velvet cake? Have you ever heard of red velvet cakes? It's the hot craze in the last year or so. Back in France, Monsieur Brigand insisted that we always have a dozen of them ready in the bakery storage. Fortunately, they are easy to make. A piece of cake, you might say. Okay. Anyway, red velvet cakes have two specific characteristics: red layers and white frosting. That's it. With all the tourists who will be in town next week for the fair, you can't afford to not have some of these delicious cakes in your display window. So we're going to go right into our code, and I'm going to reset the code. Pretend you didn't see that. Okay, so let's just act like we're starting over. So now we're going to successfully complete this exercise, we must use the layer tag name selector to change the color of the cake's layer tags. These elements must be in red. Hint: the tag name selector matches the tag's name. Example, the selector of the frosting tags is frosting. Okay. Next, we're going to use the frosting tag name selector to change the color of the cake's frosting tags, and these elements must be white. Okay. Just for a hint, I believe our cake's color is going to be this. So I'm just going to copy that right here so that I do not forget. And now I'm going to, I guess, save myself time from typing. And right here, we're going to, what is our background color? Let me go back here for a clue. I forgot what to do here. Can anybody give me a hint? Anybody? Do you guys have an idea? Can anybody help me? Somebody. Help me. I do not know what I'm doing. Do you guys have an idea of what is supposed to go in here right now for our red velvet cake? Do you have an idea? It's just one word that we used in our last activity, the one that we did right before this one. It's a word. Okay, let's try to read the question again. It says to use the frosting tag name selector to change the color of the cake's frosting tags. This element must be white. And we can see right here that the color of our background color has been set to white. So all we have to do is type in frosting right here. And it's time, the moment of truth is here for us to see if I'm actually doing this right. So I'm just going to run and cross my fingers. Yay! It worked out perfectly. Thank you guys. Awesome. So now we're going to move on to the next one.
My connection on the planning committee told me a little secret. The head judge is a retired mathematician who won't even look at a cake if it's not perfectly symmetrical. Apparently, he doesn't even need to taste the cakes. They say he can prove their tastiness using math. I know what we need to do. Picture this, a huge cake with layers of various sizes perfectly stacked on top of one another. This beauty has to be the prom queen of the fair. You can change the size of a cake's layer with the width property. The percentage represents how wide the cake element is compared to the overall size of the cake. So, if the cake is 100 centimeters wide, then this layer is 40 centimeters wide. Par la barbe de Monsieur Brignac! This horrid cake won't win us the competition. You see, cake elements are always left aligned, but we can make clever use of the margin property to solve this. Since the layer only takes up 40% of the whole width, 60% is left as empty space. By taking half of the empty space, so 30%, and setting it as the margin on the left, we can center the layer within the cake. Use the margin left property with a value of 30%. Don't forget to apply the same change to the frosting.
We won't. So let's see what we have to do here. Of course, I'll start by resetting our code. And now we have to successfully complete this exercise. You must complete the style declarations of the layer small class selector. The width property needs to have a value of 40%, while the margin left property needs to have a value of 30%. And secondly, because we always have two activities or two parts of this exercise, to complete the style decorations for the frosting small class selector, the width property needs to have a value of 40%, and the margin left needs to have a value of 30%. So let's go right here. Remember, our width for layer small has to have a value of 40%. And our margin left needs to have a value of 30. Same for the frosting small. That was our layer. So now we have 40%. And our margin left has 30%. Awesome. Do you guys see anything that I need to add, change, or do you think that we have satisfied all the requirements to complete this exercise? Do you guys see anything that I'm missing? I guess a good way to know is to test it. So I'm going to go ahead and click run just to see if I'm missing. Oh! This is not what we had in mind. Well, this is not what I had in mind. I want my frosting to go on my cake, not on the... I don't even know how this is sitting. Okay. So, does anybody know what I'm missing? Or is there something that I forgot to add? There's definitely something wrong in my code. And as you can see right here, the error that we have here says the margin left property of a layer element has an incorrect value or is still missing. So, does anyone have any thoughts on what I could do to fix this? Anybody? Somebody, help me. Help me. Oh, I see it now, and it's something that's quite obvious. And it's a common mistake that anyone can make. I'm not just saying that because I made the mistake. I'm saying this because I think it's a popular, like, omission problem. So you see right here, it asks that we have the value of 40% for our width, and our margin left needs to be 30%. Just like we have 40% and 30% here. So right here with our frosting small, as you can see, our issue is with our layer. So with our frosting, let's look at what we did right first. Go to the left, the margin left, right here. I forgot to add my percentage sign right here. So that's one thing about HTML. It is very, let me use the word sensitive, because you have to be very careful and very detail oriented. Yes, in the middle, go to the left. That's what we want. We want our cake to go to the left in the middle. Thank you. I don't know how to say your name, but thank you. So let's try it. Now that I think I fixed it, let's try to run the code again to see if our cake is gonna look good. Awesome. This looks perfect. And that's exactly what we wanted. So it was just the little percentage sign right here that I forgot to add. That's why my cake wasn't aligned. So now that we have that done, we're going to move on to our next step, which is our next activity, which is a balanced cake. So stacking layers of a cake is an art, okay? Make the layers too big and the cake falls victim to gravity. Make the layers too small and people think that the cake is just a fancy cupcake. This is such a problem that some of the finest baking schools are forcing aspiring bakers to take an advanced mathematics course before graduating. Thank God for us, we don't have to take another math course. Let's see if you need to sign up to one of those classes. Try fitting a layer at the bottom of this cake. Let's see what the problem is. Of course, I will reset my code so there are no surprises or no giveaways or answers. Okay, cool. And right here from the picture, it looks like a 3-layered cake, which, okay, let's make this bigger. So this is what we're trying to execute. So I'm going to go right here to look at the instructions. To successfully complete this exercise, you must complete the style decorations for the layer large class selector. The width property needs to have a value of 90%, while the margin left property needs to have a value of 5%. Complete the style decorations for the frosting large class selector and by adding a width property of the value of 90% and the margin left of 5%. So it's basically the same thing for our layer and our large. Okay, so everything else looks to be checked out, but our layer large needs to have a width of 90%. I'm definitely not forgetting my percentage sign. And our layer left needs to have the value, or margin left needs to have a value of 5%. Okay, and now for our frosting large, we need to give it a width of 90% and a margin left of 5%. Okay, Does this look good? It looks like we satisfied all the requirements, everything that we need to get done. So, do you guys see anything that I could possibly be missing? Anything that's not complete yet with our code or anything that could possibly go wrong? This all looks correct to me. We have 90, we have 5. Yeah, let's just run it to see if something's broken. That's not the cake that I wanted. Okay, so of course, I'm a terrible baker. So this isn't working right. This isn't what we want. We want the frosting to cover the entire cake, the surface of the cake. This is not correct. So let's go here and see what the problem is. The width property of a frosting element has an incorrect value or is missing. So we know that we're going to go here to our frosting, and I see what the problem is. Do you guys see the problem? It's missing like a symbol. Yeah, that's what to call it, a symbol. Can anybody tell me? Help me. Okay, this is it right here. I forgot to end my width with a semicolon. And now, when I run it, our cake looks good. It looks perfect. Cool. So now we're going to go into the final step of the box model. And we get to watch a video before we go in.
I was out shopping for flowers to decorate the bakery, and you'll never guess who I bumped into. The head judge of the competition. Yes, the mathematician one. He's even grumpier than you thought. We'll have to work extra hard to impress him. How about we make the cake's middle layer very tall using the box model technique I showed you earlier? What? I haven't showed you the box model? Well, any baker worth his salt must know about the box model, so let me show it to you. Each element of a cake, such as a layer, can be represented as a box with 4 zones. The first zone contains the content, like this text here. The second is the padding, and it makes up the empty space between the content and the third zone, the border. We've already seen the last zone, the margin, which makes up the empty space around the box. Try using this technique.
So, I paused the video right here to just show us a little bit more about how HTML actually functions. So if you think of this as your page, like your web page, which is what you typically use HTML for in the real world, your margin is what helps you align the pages so that your text or anything else doesn't run off the page. And you set the borders and the padding to help you just make your page look more appealing to the eyes and to make everything more aligned and more straight. Yes, just thought to mention that.
To finish the cake for the fair, you'll want to use the padding zone to add some empty space around the text.
Nice. So now we're going to go ahead and practice adding the padding zone to the cake. Awesome. So now this looks pretty easy. So to successfully complete this exercise, you must complete the style declarations for the layer tall class right here. Add the padding top property with a value of 15 centimeters and the padding bottom property with a value of 15 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Padding top. Give me my colon and 15 centimeters. I'm going to make sure not to make any mistakes this time. And padding bottom. 15 centimeters. And I'm going to close that out. Awesome. This looks good, right? Are we missing anything? I do not predict any errors in our foreseeable future right here. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and run. And yay! It worked out perfectly. Awesome. Which brings us to the end of our learning to bake with HTML. If you want like a refresher on the activity, now that you watched me do it, you can just go on your own time to go start from scratch if you want to. Talking about scratch, that's a hint on the next activity that we're going to do right now, or at least we're going to start today. So now we're going to, yeah, that's the end. That brings us to the exciting end. And once you're done, you get a certificate for completing the activity. Who doesn't like a certificate of completion? I know I do. And you get to put your name right here if you want to. Oh, that's big. But yeah, I didn't mean to make it that big. But yeah, and then you can share your certificates with your friends on Facebook or Twitter if you have any of those. And for more like options on classes or any other activities that you would want to do, you can go here to the list of activities, and I try my best to try to make sure that we go through the many activities on here so you guys are at least introduced to code.org. So if there's any activity that you specifically like and would like us to focus on for a week, if there's anything that you want us to do, feel free to send me an email like, hey, how about we do this activity? I think it's really cool. And I'll be more than happy to be the lab rat that works through all the activities for you guys. Okay, so let me know. You can send me a chat, send me a text, or send me an email, hello@dospace.org. My name is Kafaya, of course. I'll put the hello@dospace email so that you can send me your thoughts, or if you complete your activity and you want to show me your certificate, send it to me at hello@dospace.org and make sure to put my name, Kafaya. Did I forget how to spell my name? hello@dospace.org, and my name is Kafaya. Okay, I'm talking too much or wasting too much time. What's happening? My name? Cool. That is good to go. hello@dospace.org, and my name is Kafaya. So send me your certificates when you're done. And now, I don't think we'll have too much time to like complete this activity, but the good thing is we get to start. Okay? So now we're going to just a quick few things. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about Scratch before. I know that we have done quite a few activities on Scratch, but today we're taking a different angle and we're going to be introducing us to dialogues in Scratch in Google. So you get to create 2 sprites and you get to watch them do something cool. Okay, so now we're going to watch this quick video on how to create a dialogue on Scratch, and then I would be putting the link to this activity in the chat so that you guys can go have fun with your friends and do the activity when you can.
In this video,
Okay,
you will select a setting and 2 characters for your story. This will help set up the story you want to tell. Then, you will program dialogue between the 2 characters to start telling your story. What your characters say is up to you. You can pause the video to add to your project, or you can watch the entire video, then complete the steps. To start, open the starter project.
hold on. Let me see if I can open the starter project. while we watch the video. Okay.
In Scratch, characters, objects,
Awesome.
and animals are called sprites. Think about the story you want to tell. Select your first character and the Costumes tab. Who are the characters in your story? How do they know each other?
Oh.
After selecting the first character, click the second sprite and choose a second character. Next, add a backdrop to your story to set the scene. You have many options to choose from, like the beach, a castle, or even the moon. Choose a backdrop that works for your characters and the story you are telling. Now that you have characters and a setting, program your story through dialogue. Select the character that will talk first. Then, drag out a few save for 2-second blocks and connect them.
I want my backdrop set.
When you click the block stack, the sprite says, "Hello."
Okay. Something's
Type new
wrong.
text in the blocks to make your character say something. Think about your character. Who are they? How do they know the other character? What is their personality like? Think about what they might say to get the audience's attention. Add as many say blocks as you'd like to start your story. Next, program the other character to respond. To do this, add say blocks. Let your audience know how your characters feel and what is happening in your story through dialogue. Use the characters' personalities to decide what they should say. Are they excited or nervous? Click the block stack to test. To make your story start when the flag is clicked, select the Events menu and add a When Flag Click block to the top of the block stack. Do this for each character. Test this. Both characters talk at the same time. To fix this, program one character to wait before responding. Select the character you want to wait. From the control menu, add a wait block and put it above the say blocks. Change the value to 6 seconds, since that's how long the other character talks. Great. Add more say and wait blocks to create more dialogue to tell your story. Using say and wait blocks to put your lines of dialogue in the right order is an example of sequencing. A sequence is a set of steps done in order. Like a story, computer code follows a series of steps to complete a specific task. Test your code often to see if it's working the way you want it to. After adding dialogue to your two characters, come back to this page to check out more features to add to your story.
Awesome. So now I think it's good to test it out. For some reason, my Scratch wasn't working well when I tried to work as she was talking. So this is what we have so far. We have our sprites selected. We have two sprites, okay? And they're both programmed. I'm just going to delete this. They're both programmed to say, to have a conversation of some sort, okay? And now we're at the part where we have to make them talk to see how much time we need to make the other sprite wait. So he says hello. Well, he says hi for 2 seconds. And our lovely rabbit here says hello for 2 seconds. So let's see how that works, or if we're going to be successful. Let me make that full screen and hi, hello. But now they start talking at the same time, and we don't want that. So I'm going to go back here and add more stops in between the dialogue so it flows a lot better than what I have at the moment. So everyone's gonna wait 2 seconds for the friend to say something, and then they can go. So I'm gonna wait another 2 seconds. And let me add another 2 seconds here. Okay, now let's test this out again. So, hi. Hello. Oh no. Do you see? So someone was supposed to say something first, but I had them switched. The fun thing about this activity is you get to see your mistakes and then go back and fix them. So we know that the rabbit says it's a nice day out today, and our good friend here responds, yes, it's really nice. So our friend here needs to wait 4 seconds before he says anything, and the rabbit can wait 4 seconds before he says something. So let's try that again. Hi. Hello. Yeah, it is really nice. Yay. We should go. Okay, cool. Well, that was a fun conversation. And that's a good way to, I guess, encourage you guys to go outside today and have some fun in the sun. That's if the sun is still out. But that brings us to the end of today's lesson. And I hope that you guys enjoyed enjoyed my class today, or enjoyed hanging out with me today. And I hope to see you guys next week for more fun activities. And remember, if you have something to show me or ask me before our next session, feel free to send me an email at hello@dospace.org. I'm going to put the link to this dialogue activity in the chat just so you can go have fun with it on your own time. And I hope that you enjoy. It was nice having fun with you guys today, and thank you for engaging with me and at least participating. And I'll talk to you guys another time, okay? Bye.